What is going on, guys? This is Walk Talk Football, the show where we talk about everything that's on your mind. Today we are talking Champions League knockout round draws, we're talking Premier League, we're talking Bundesliga, as well as some other stuff, so let's walk. All right, guys, first up from Taco Button 420 wants to know PSG versus Real, Neymar versus Ronaldo, who's coming out on top? If we were to take it as Ronaldo, League Ronaldo, I'd say PSG, but Ronaldo's been, I think he's the top scorer right now in the Champions League, so I'm gonna go with Real Madrid. It's their one chance to sort of salvage what's been an otherwise poor year for them. So I'm gonna say Real Madrid. Having said that, PSG is really good, but we haven't really seen them against a top piece of competition yet, at least not like somebody capable of knocking them out like a Real Madrid who's as good as they are, but they've been struggling. So it'll be interesting to see, but I do truly believe that Real Madrid are gonna come out on top of that. That team is just too good to say we're gonna have an average year across the board. They're gonna excel at least either in Champions League or fight their way back into the league, and I think it's gonna be Champions League. Is this the year England starts dominating Champions League again? I mean, it could be, but Chelsea, they've got to take on Barcelona. You've got Manchester United has a decently easy way. Nothing's easy in the knockout rounds, but I'd say Man United has a good chance. Man City, who's Man City playing? Dash, who's Man City playing? Basel, yeah, Basel. But I mean, Basel are always dangerous, man. Every year they're in the Champions League, and every year they somehow sneak their way through. But I think this could be the year. I mean, City at least, so good. Who do you predict will be the first team knocked out of the round of 16 in Champions League? Biggest upset? Well, you've got Madrid playing PSG, Chelsea playing Barca, Juve against Tottenham. But obviously it's going to be Real Madrid or PSG, and I think that's probably going to be PSG. With all the money they spent this year, the pressure is on for them to not just win the league. They're going to win the league. We all expect that. We all know that's going to happen. The only reason they're buying a Neymar, the only reason they're spending the money that they're spending is to win the Champions League. And now they've got to beat Real Madrid. And that's going to be really tough. So one of those two teams is going to be the biggest upset, or the first upset out of the knockout rounds. What else we got here? Can Man City win the treble? Would that somehow solidify their crazy budget? I mean, I guess. I mean, they're just super good. I'm not even going to argue that. I think they do have the ability to win the cup, win the league, win the Champions League, and they've shown the depth. I mean, they never lose. I think it was like 13 games unbeaten, or 13 wins in a row or something in the Premier League, and then in the Champions League, I just don't. They've got. Who's City playing? Basel. That's right, Basel. I mean, that's a game that they should be able to win. Again, I respect Basel. They're very dangerous. They're capable of knocking teams out, especially in the knockout rounds. But I do think City might have a solid way into the quarterfinals, semifinals. They should at least reach the semifinals, if not the finals. But again, this could be the year that English teams come back. But I'm trying to think of who else could. Real Madrid, maybe Barcelona, Bayern Munich. This is actually good. I'm actually thinking through it right now, and I'm quite optimistic that English teams could go deep in this tournament. You know, at least semifinals or finals, and hopefully win. Liverpool drawing to Everton after a clear dive. Jurgen Klopp having a discussion with the reporter. What do you think about the game? I mean, it was a clear dive. It's disappointing because Liverpool were dominant, but I don't feel bad for Liverpool fans. I'm an Arsenal fan, and we can't even get a result on a Sunday morning, early morning. The easiest time. Everybody knows it's the easiest time to get a result, and we can't get it. But no, it's a clear dive. It's a shame because I think VAR should be implemented into the Premier League, but it'd probably be the last league in the world that gets it. But c'est la vie, you know. But it's disappointing. And Jurgen Klopp, he's the man. I like when he gets mad. He's a passionate man. He's like the guy that I wish I lived down the street from. Do you agree that Romelu Lukaku should be man of the match after the Manchester derby after his brilliant creative display for City, which helped them dominate and win the match? Look, I feel bad for that guy, dude. 2 goals in his last 13 games. Struggles, you get that big old price tag. I think he's 23, 24 years old. The pressure of the world on him. But you pay all that money and you got to show up in big games, and that's not what he's been doing. You know, a lot of people said, you guys remember, my hot take was that Romelu Lukaku would not finish in the top 5 in the Premier League, and right now, I'm looking pretty good on that bet. Rewind it to the start of the season, and I looked really stupid because he was scoring a lot of goals then. But now he's struggling a bit. Manchester City are just a good team, and Romelu Lukaku's out of form right now. So I think Man United are a good team, and he's helping them in a lot of other ways. But at a certain point, you pay that much money, you got to start putting up goals and consistently putting up goals, if not challenging for a golden boot race. Why did so many teams in the Champions League falter? Why did so many Bundesliga teams falter in both Champions League and Europa? It's tough to say, man. I mean, youth and experience, amount of games played. I mean, it is a young league, lots of young players playing, which helps with the national team growth and player development, but it doesn't always help because a lot of those players do get sold on in time as well. But a lot of young players, but I mean, it's kind of crazy. RB Leipzig and Dortmund are heading to Europa League. This could be a chance for Dortmund to bounce back and kind of finish the season. You win the Europa League kind of like Arsenal are capable of, like Man United did last year. It can turn things around for you. But again, Hoffenheim, Cologne, and Hertha are out of the Europa League. And now it's just Dortmund in the Champions. I mean, it's Bayern Munich in the Champions League, and that's literally all we've got. Hi. That's literally all we've got. So I say we like I'm German, but it's also kind of sad because they're dominant in the league. They win the league every single year, and now finding ourselves in a situation where they're going to win the league year after year, and people aren't really challenging. So I don't know what the exact problem is, but it is sad to see. What else do we have? Dortmund have slipped down to 8th, and they have only won once in the last 13 games. Do you think that's their downfall to a Europa League team or a mid-table team? Well, they just hired Peter Stoger. He took Cologne up in 2014. He won an Austrian league title. I'm not really sure if he's the right guy. I don't really know him personally. I know he's a former international, but it'll be interesting to see. I don't see Dortmund ever becoming a Europa League team, but they are having a rough patch. They lack kind of that leadership, that killer instinct. But hopefully they'll bounce back because a Bundesliga is a much better league when there's multiple teams challenging for first, second, and third places like they've done in the past. I mean, even Hoffenheim out struggling right now. Should Pulisic go on loan? I don't think so. I think he should just keep on playing and playing well if he's getting the minutes, and if he's not, then he should go out on loan. But I think he's good enough to be playing regularly at Dortmund and hopefully get a move to a bigger club when the time is right. What else do we have here? Did it not frustrate the hell out of you when you were told to go out and play for a draw? Would that attitude often lead to you losing the game due to a lack of belief? It wasn't a lack of belief. I mean, it's different than playing in MLS where it's like single entity. When I played in the Bundesliga, you were a club that had like 1/20th of the budget that Bayern Munich had. My first game, I've said it a million times, was away to Bayern Munich. We were in there for a draw. And we didn't get it. We lost 3-0, but we went there for a draw because that was truly the most realistic opportunity. You're playing way away from home. They have a much better team, much better players. And so it doesn't change the motivation. Now, if you're playing for a draw against teams that you think you're equal to, then I think that someone needs to have a word with that coach and give him a smack upside the head. But, you know, I never went into a system or lost belief because a lot of times you went for that draw because you had to. I mean, even when you go down to qualifiers in Central America, the elements are so difficult to play in that you'll take a draw almost any day of the week. What else we got? TFC to win CONCACAF Champions League. They definitely can. I mean, I would put them, at least their starting 11, which is always the issue with Champions League, is depth, right? So starting 11, I can't really see a better team in the CONCACAF Champions League from top to bottom of that first 11, 12, 13 players. But Champions League is all about depth because you got to manage your domestic campaign, you got Open Cup, you got Champions League. So I do think they're good enough to play in the Champions League and go deep in the Champions League, potentially win the Champions League, but they do need to sign a few more players for depth, which will be interesting to see if they do. Speaking of which, will the additional $2.8 million in TAM help MLS teams attract big talents outside of their DPs, or is it still not enough? I mean, I don't know what enough should be, but I think it's all about filling out the rest of the roster, right? We had this phase in MLS where it was like, bring the big names so people watch. And then it was like, okay, now you need to bring younger, more effective DPs that actually perform on the pitch. And now you got to fill out the rest of your roster. You need more depth on the bench. Just like you do when you go to the Champions League, you need more depth across your roster. And you need that middle of the lineup, that 6 to 11 player in your starting team to be much better than it was way back in the past. And it's slowly getting better. And I think the more money you add into it, the higher your chances are to get that done. What does Cruz Azul need to do to compete for Liga MX? I honestly don't know enough about Liga MX right now. I'm kind of not caught up other than Tigres being champions. But I don't know, man. I love Cruz Azul though. That was like the first club I liked when I was younger, from Mexico anyway. Kind of liked one club in every region for a while, and Cruz Azul was the first one. I liked the Cemento Cruz Azul stuff. Anyways, I don't know. You guys tell me. I wish that I paid more. And then it goes right to the next question, which is, should people be watching Liga MX? Should more people? 100%. I wish I watched it more often. There's only so many games that I can catch up to, but every time I've watched one, it's exciting. I wish that I had more of a dog in the fight in terms of like a team that I truly supported and really wanted to kind of like follow them week in and week out. Perhaps I need to go down to Mexico and spend a little bit of time in some clubs and kind of experience the atmosphere and the culture around it and fall in love with the club and follow it more. I think that's usually what it takes for people, is to have a reason to get behind it. But the games that I have watched are pretty exciting, so watch it more. And I should too. Hold me to that standard as well. Who's your underdog team for the World Cup? I don't have one right now, man. Iceland, I guess. I mean, they were so fun to watch in the Euros, and now here they are, like, continuing to raise the bar for themselves. So I'd like to see them do well. Maybe not obviously win a World Cup, but it'd be cool to see them go on deep, because you want those teams in the tournament, because it makes it such a nice celebration. What else have we got here? Okay, guys, guess what? It's time for the haters, my favorite time of the week. Every Monday, I come out here and I walk the streets with you guys, rain or shine, wet or cold, no matter what the temperature is. And then we get to my favorite part of the show, which is time to literally watch your step there, watch your step there. We're good. All right, well done. Well done, we're still going. Time to address your haters. Here we go. Get him on UK Copa. This interview is dry. I don't know what that was in reference to, because our producer just dropped this in here, but I'm sorry if I bore you guys. I'm out here walking. We've got guys risking their lives walking backward with a camera right now. There's cars driving by, there's people driving by, or people walking by, people running by. There's kids' strollers in the way, bikes, there's street lamps, posts, fences. We're out here risking our lives for you, and you're calling it boring. That hurts. That hurts. I'm not gonna sleep for at least another 6 hours today until I go to bed tonight, because I'm distraught. The Beast from the Southeast says, lose the stash. You look like a makeshift Pablo Escobar. Lose the stash. You look like a makeshift Pablo Escobar. I'd love to break down that sentence a little bit more, because it sounds a lot like a compliment, because I've watched Narcos and he looked sick. Bad man, don't get me wrong. Did a lot for a lot of poor people, but did a lot of bad things as well. But this mustache is sick, his mustache was sick, and that's what I can settle on, that actually being cool. You look 30 years older with that mustache. Well, see, our guys almost just got hit by a stroller, somebody pushing full speed. I look 30 years older with this mustache. I feel 30 years older. When you get to my age, actually, you do all these things because it makes you think that you're like, I'm still cool, man, I still got it. It just takes, I'll just go grow a mustache. That'll get me back in with the cool kids in the office. But no, I appreciate that hate. Yeah, it's John Mix Reviews. But to be honest with you, over the last week, I've had like 10 Bill the Butcher shouts from gangs in New York. I think that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna keep it for a little bit longer and then probably shave it off around the next holiday. So anyways, guys, that's all we have for this show today. But make sure you get down into the comments, let me know what you guys think of the Champions League draw. Who's the big team that's gonna get knocked out first? Comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.